Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast starring me, Tanzurnius.
Oh, it's whatever your legendary is. I don't know what the name of that is off the top of my head.
Xerneas.
Xerneas? Surely pronouncing that correct.
AKA Tanner Greenring, and I am joined by my co-host, Fieltal.
Oh, God. Yveltal.
Fieltal.
Yveltal. It's not making it easy for us.
AKA Joshua Fielstead. And we are joined this week by a very special guest, Steve Fisk.
Stunfisk.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the joke.
Yeah.
Steve SARUMI from It's Super Effective. Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello. Thanks for having me. I'm here to talk about X and Y.
Yes, you are a Kalos diehard.
A Kalos stan?
A Kalos stan?
Yeah, I like Kalos. I have a lot of problems with these games, but I also love these games. But I feel like that's every Pokemon game in a nutshell.
We had one of our fans, a Bugcatcher, put us all into the same thread on Twitter when we announced this season, and it was unclear to us how much you like Kalos, but we were kind of going into it. We both played it before, and I didn't remember it super fondly, and I actually have been enjoying it a lot more this time around.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxing compared to some of the other games we've played recently.
I definitely enjoyed it my second time around as well, more. The first time around, I liked it, but I didn't, I played through it, and I did what most Pokemon fans do. I was like, I got credits? Okay, I'm done. What other video game can I play?
Right.
It definitely has a number of new features that make it a surprisingly easy game to get through. Like, even just this week, I introduced 3 new Pokemon to my team and got them up to gym shape in just a week. So they definitely make it a lot easier. But you know, when you're a jaded old Pokemon podcaster who plays through these games every week, sometimes that's just what you want, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Before we get too far into the leg for the bug catchers, we want to just kind of talk about you a little bit, Steve, and talk about It's Super Effective.
Sure. Oh, gosh. Where do you want me to start? What do you want to know?
Well, we sort of jokingly refer to ourselves as titans of podcasting, but I would say that in the Pokemon space in particular.
I mean, what have we been doing this for, Josh? 3 years?
I think we're in the... God, this is the 4th year.
Oh, wow.
But
okay. It actually has been a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, it's added up real quick. But It's Super Effective has been around since 2010, is that right?
2010. This would be its 11th year, so that sounds right. Yes.
God. Yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah, I think something I've always admired about the show is
pre-serial.
Yeah, that's
pre-serial. Yeah.
It's it was started before podcasts were I mean, I already am not totally positive that my parents know what a podcast is yet, but back in 2010,
is it your job?
Barely only. Yeah, it's my whole job. It's what I do for fun, and then also my paid job. And they still can't really wrap their heads around it.
Yeah.
So in 2010, no way was that on the map. I mean, they were basically invented in 2004, 6? I don't know.
6, I think.
But what gave you the idea of doing a podcast about Pokemon? Which we get the question all the time of how do you even do it when the whole games are so visual? And we're
yeah, we describe a lot of gross fan art.
Yeah,
in great detail.
We don't try to. It's just it gets presented to us, you know.
Man, I was fresh out of high school into college when I discovered podcasts, and it was a bunch of IGN podcasts because they were kind of starting off. There was a podcast called Radio Free Nintendo, and I think they actually still do their show that I fell in love with. And then there was OneUp.com. They had a bunch of podcasts as well. I don't know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Anyone
I do
remembers
remember
OneUp.com?
Yeah.
So I went from very edgelord punk rock music kid in high school to then nonstop podcasts in college. All of these podcasts I mentioned, the Nintendo ones, the IGN ones, the 1UP ones, they would cover brand new video games every single week. And so when it was around the time Heart Gold Soul Silver was coming out, and I was like, oh, they're going to cover it. They're going to talk about it. You know, they've mentioned Pokemon before. They talk about every game that comes out, and they all like skipped over Pokemon. And I was like, I want to listen to somebody talk about Heart Gold Soul Silver, because Heart Gold Soul Silver came out, and I typed in Pokemon, and there was a couple shows that popped up. There was like Pokemon Mondays, which I think was by Games Radar, and then there was like 2 other shows, and they didn't have any episodes recently. And
that's how you know you can swoop in.
Yeah,
exactly. And then I was like, if I'm looking for Pokemon stuff, I'm assuming other people are looking for Pokemon stuff, and I feel like I'm knowledgeable about Pokemon. So I started my own podcast, and I hosted it on .Mac before.
Oh yeah.
Like Mobile Me and iCloud were a thing, because Apple was like, we want to get people into podcasting,
Right.
Oh, those were the bad old days where you really had to have like a iPod to get Apple Podcasts to work.
I'll admit they were not even on my radar in 2010 easily. So I'm very impressed. Very ahead of the curve.
I wish I was that early on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Still,
we all could go back and do it again. I don't know if I'd want to become a YouTube celebrity, though. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think I would have tried. I don't know what that says about me, but I don't know that I would have been a success, but I definitely would have thought that I should have been.
Funny that you mentioned Serial, because I think Serial was a huge jumping point in podcast of like mainstream people started to understand what it was. And I still think that podcast is still missing like another push, like another Serial I feel like needs to come around.
Oh, absolutely. It's been so long.
Yeah, I get people that come into my like Twitch streams or whatnot, and they're like, "You do a podcast? What's a podcast?" Like, yeah, every Monday. Yep, it's.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Experience Share Pokemon Podcast can be that next Serial. And I think we're just kind of waiting on our moment here, but
we do some hard investigative reporting, you know.
Yeah,
like when we have to see what artists depict certain sexy Pokemon.
Check out what's going on Fur Affinity.
Just to report on that.
So you're not the Kalos stan that we were led to believe you are, but what is it about X and Y that is appealing to you?
You can also say what you don't like, because we cover that too.
Oh, okay. I think a lot. Well, the thing I don't like is the story and the pacing of the entire game.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It was really bad this week.
It's so uneven, where like the first gym is like just a little jaunt, and then the second one is immediately hours and hours, and then you have like 3 gyms or whatever in a row that are like maybe an hour or so of gameplay, and then like this most recent gym 7 to 8 was like 6 hours or something.
Yeah, it was an enormous leg.
I don't know if that's what you're saying with the pacing, but like that's definitely been a theme throughout this whole season.
Yeah, that's a part of it. I think when X and Y came out, I don't think I appreciated it as much as like going back and really looking back and being like, yeah, Fairy type was 100% the right choice. Like having all the Pokemon be 3D. I know this is still a constant complaint in the community of like, oh, everyone getting experiences, it makes it easy. And it's like, but every other role-playing game has the entire party getting experience. Like, I just don't want to grind anymore. X and Y was like that kind of that jump that I felt was needed between like Black and White to like more of a modern type of Pokemon game. And I don't know if other people would ever come around to that, but I do think that was like a big standout to me. And I think all the Pokemon they added that generation was really good.
Yeah, there's some real cuties.
Yeah, there's some cuties, and then also just like they took some interesting leaps that I think we'll talk about in our level check.
Yeah,
too.
And Mega Pokemon were novel. It was an okay thing. I mean, I think the gimmicks have been more apparent over the years, whether that was like Dynamax or Z moves or Mega Pokemon. But then you look at Black and White, and like the competitive gimmick, at least at the time, were like these gems, and normal gems still exist in current games, but like the gem system was just like a really bad. I don't know if it was worse or better than Z moves, but both were kind of bad competitively. But yeah, it's just a lot of little things, I think, in X and Y that definitely add up to being like, man, I can't believe this was added in this generation, or I can't believe they finally got around to doing this in this generation. And it makes you really appreciate it, versus like the opposite side of the story of like, why is there this 30-foot tall man in prison, and what is he doing, and why did he decide to like battle me post credits on the carpet? I just want to like
Yeah,
We haven't gotten there yet. I have to battle this guy.
This region introduces immortality seemingly as canon in Pokemon
I think what we learned this week in this leg was that guy is 3,000 years old.
Yes.
And once nuked the planet because his girlfriend, who was a Florges, died in a great Pokemon war.
Yes,
I think it was a Floette, which is
it was a Floette,
worse.
and there's just a giant cannon hiding under the ground that people are all cool with.
It emerged this week in Geosenge town for us.
And then you fought a couple pit bulls, Mr. Worldwide in the tunnels. Yes.
Yep.
And I made Phil the photo guy come out and take my picture in front of like the Doomsday.
I was gonna point that out. Yeah, that was a nice touch that you could have Phil come and take a photo of you with the weapon to destroy the Earth.
Yeah, I forgot all about the photo stuff. That was actually like another little thing that they added that went a huge way. Like my wife is black, so for her to be like, I can actually be a black character and play through these games. And
yeah.
Like,
customized characters.
The customization was really great, and it's like, why did it take so long to get here?
Like Pokemon Company, you've had like full color for many years at this point. You could have diversified a lot sooner.
They're like, what do you mean? We let you be a girl or a boy. Whatever one you want.
Right.
So you've been at this a while. I'm assuming you've played through every single Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you've played through every single Pokemon game several times, most likely.
Yeah.
What are some of the highs and lows of your Pokemon career?
Do you have any shinies that got away, or wins you never expected, losses you never expected?
I think like starting out the podcast and stuff, I thought I was very knowledgeable about Pokemon, and I can look back and I remember when Black and White came out, I still like I didn't really care about shinies. I really didn't understand EVs or IVs or any of that. And when Black and White came out, I tried to get into like competitive, and I think I realized I was not as good as Pokemon as I thought I was. Like every kid thinks they are when they're like playing through, and they're like, I'm the best player ever. And I think at that point, it really turned the podcast into like a news-based show, and I think that alone got me into other aspects of Pokemon. But I don't think it was until I started streaming where I really was like, I had to like go through these games in and out, because I think it's definitely easy to be a Pokemon fan, play through the game, be like, I played through all the games, and then in my shoes, I'm like, I played through all the games like 5 or 6 times, and I played it through this way, and I did a Nuzlocke here, and I did an Egglocke here, and I did a Shiny Badge Quest. So you really start to like, when people are like, you have so many complaints about X and Y, it's like, yeah, I played through this game like 6 times, I can tell you.
They're all getting a little old.
If you only play through it once, I don't think you see all the weird decisions sometimes they make. But like highlights, I love Sword and Shield, and I remember like the week leading up to it with the National Dex people and like everyone posting these weird like glitchy things from their emulated versions of Sword and Shield. I was like, oh, are these games actually as terrible as everyone is making them out to be? And when they came out, I was just like, these games are incredible. Like they are really great. The Dynamax dens of playing with other people. It was like I can finally like play Pokemon with 3 other people. I got into competitive through Sword and Shield, and I qualified for like Players Cup 2, which was one of their big tournaments they hosted. I really like nice. I went as far as to like hire a VGC coach to like get better at that, because I was like, I feel like I'm knowledgeable in other areas, but like when people ask me, I want to be knowledgeable here too. So like Sword and Shield was for me like a big part of like kind of filling in a gap of Pokemon that not only I was missing, but like I didn't really enjoy in the past. Like I said, like the mega stuff in X and Y I think are cool, and I think it's really novel. I don't think it was like a good gimmick for me to get into competitive. And the Z crystals in Sun and Moon were the same reason. Like I was like, these are not convincing me that I should learn your competitive meta game. But the Dynamax stuff did.
Unfortunately, Sword and Shield came out right when Josh and I started this podcast, and the whole gimmick of our podcast is we play through each game, gym by gym, week by week. So it's going to be another couple years before I get to try out Sword and Shield.
I did finish. I didn't do like the post game, and I never got to dive into the competitive side, but I did at least squeeze that in right before we got really. When our schedule got crazy enough that basically the only Pokemon games at this point that I can play are just like whatever, season,
whatever we're playing,
whatever gen we're in. But that's definitely something I look forward to because I haven't really gotten to be. We do battle in these seasons, but I haven't gotten to be like properly competitive, like basically since like Gen 2. But it was also Steve, like similar, where like I was like great with my friends, but I've never really been on like a stage of like the whole world. But I look forward to like the day when we catch up with. I guess it'll probably be Gen 9. I feel like we'll probably, if the cycle lasts long enough, we'll probably finally bring the timelines together, and I do think that will be fun for us too. Fun and I don't know, terrifying to realize that we're also
terrifying.
We're very, very knowledgeable about certain aspects of Pokemon, but I've never actually. I've only dabbled in like EV training, and I'm excited to like finally try being competitive on like the main scene when we get there in 2 years, maybe.
A few years from now.
Maybe 2
Josh,
years.
I want to remind you that we've switched roles. You're the lore master, and I'm the Pokemon expert now.
Oh,
so
right.
You don't have to worry about things like EVs and IVs and any of that stuff.
Yeah, I just pull out the weird Pokédex entries and the weird fun facties.
Speaking of which, on It's Super Effective, you guys talk about Pokemon and trivia a lot.
We do.
What is your favorite Pokemon fact that you've learned over the years?
Oh, gosh. You were putting me on the spot. Is it a fact that Gorebyss is wearing a bra?
Yes, we talk about that constantly.
It came up just 2 episodes ago.
Why is Gorebyss wearing a bra? Who gave it the bra?
It doesn't
Who's
need
giving all these
to be
Pokemon
there.
clothes?
Yeah, the Pokemon like clothing thing is probably the thing that troubles me the most about the whole series. Where do they get these little outfits? The bra in particular.
Who's making these little like Mr. Mime gloves,
Throw and socks, karate outfits. I mean, is it skin? It's just like none of it is good to think about. It's like
Can I ask you guys a question? Is there a Pokemon that stands out in X and Y that you're like, dang, that's a good Pokemon?
Good. Good in what sense? Good in like
the opposite of Gorebyss. Like you look at
Pokemon?
Gorebyss and you're like, oh, why did they make this? I feel like the same for Sock and Throw. You're like, they're fine, but like they didn't need to be here.
it's total fluff.
My favorite Pokemon is in this game, which is my favorite evolutionary line is Skiddo and Go-Goat. So like I look at Go-Goat and I think that's a cool ass Pokemon. Look at that thing. It's a big ass goat. It's got like grass all over its back.
I was gonna say Go-Goat is like a winning Pokemon. It's really great.
It's just like it checks every box.
There's some we've seen some real cool. I think a lot of the fairy types are cool. I think Sylveon's like a pretty neat Eevee evolution. Yeah. Maybe it's just the novelty of having a new Eevee evolution though.
It's always refreshing. I'm trying to run. I do have a Venusaur on my team, at least still for now, but I've been trying to run mostly Gen 6 and then Pokemon in general that I haven't used before. And the first time I played, I did Greninja, as so many were wont to do, because we talked about Greninja basically like sucking the air out of the rest of the starters. But I did Fennekin this time, and I have no idea on the competitive scene, but I do like Delphox quite a bit. I like the fire psychic combo, and I like the design with the big floofy ears, and then also the little like wand that it uses. And then the one that I've been surprised that, because that's like kind of like it looks good. It's hard to say that it's ugly. And its stats are pretty decent. It's a starter, but I've been the past 2 or 3 episodes I've had a Dragalge. That I'm surprised to find I like quite a bit. I like the combo Poison Dragon, especially now that we're in like the fairy zone of this gen, where like there's fairy Pokemon all the time. And I don't know, I like the concept of this little like, piece of shit like seahorse that waits its whole life to like maybe get enough experience to finally evolve into like this kelp dragon, and it and it just hangs out waiting for unsuspecting prey to come in there, and it just sludge bombs them, and I don't know. And I think that the design like really works for the environment that it like lives in. So I don't know. Ended up liking that.
My answer is Diggersby.
Jesus.
I think the evolution from Banary to Diggersby was like, or sorry, Bunnelby.
Bunnelby, yeah.
Like so unexpected.
Not the fork in the road I would have chosen for that.
All right, before we move on to our next segment, we have to ask. We have two popular segments on the show.
Yes.
Josh always picks a new Pokemon each week that he declares his sweetie, and I always pick a Pokemon each week that I think is truly heinous and makes me barf. So, Steve, who is your sweetie? And who is your you make me barf Pokemon?
Is this all Pokemon, or are we just
All
talking?
Pokemon.
You can have all Pokemon, yeah.
Oh boy!
If you need to limit it, you could stick with Kalos, but we're open to whatever.
I'm gonna say my sweetie is Cramorant, one of the most perfect.
Cramorant.
One of the
Yeah. I had not experienced Cramorant until Pokemon Unite, and that was my player. I love Cramorant.
Oh yeah.
So I'll go with that. Also, favorite Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
I think the Pokemon, what would you call it? The barfing?
You make me barf Pokemon.
You make me barf would probably be Goldeen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it her bedroom eyes?
Yeah.
Or
that's pretty gross.
The stupid horn. I don't know. There's plenty to dislike.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's the. I'm sure you guys experienced it when you played through Gen 5 of people being like, Gen 5 ran out of creativity. There's a garbage bag and an ice cream cone.
You're
and
talking
it's
to
like,
those people.
Yeah.
That was us.
We're part of the problem.
And it's like Gen 1 just had a goldfish.
It had like 4 goldfish.
It's so bad.
Just straight up a goldfish, a pigeon, and a rat, just for starters in Gen 1,
Right.
you know.
Peak creativity.
Yeah.
They had a seal named Seal. They really knocked it out of the park with.
All right, Steve, thank you so much for joining us for this part. We're going to go talk about our leg of the journey this week, which you did not join us on, but we will have you back at the end to kind of critique our form in level check. So, Bug Catchers will be back in just a second. All right, Joshua.
We're
Here
back.
we are at
Back
the
in the shit.
start of our journey.
Yes.
And what a journey it was this week. We're hot and we're cold with this game. you know?
Hair-raising.
Last week it was like, well, we just got to run up this one route and we're home free, you know? But this
Yeah.
week it's like endless.
You were playing up until basically an hour ago.
I know you didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I pulled it off.
No. Tanner was over in Couriway, and he gets the holo clip from... he meets up with...
I was meeting up with
Sycamore. And he's like,
'Cause
wait.
He gave me a call after I fucking like vanquished his like best friend slash
lover, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, can we talk about the fact that you just like beat my boyfriend into a fucking pulp?"
Yeah, I mean, I had you're making me want to just comment on this because it was so ridiculous where like he makes you meet him in Couriway Town after we deal with Team Flare, which we're about to talk about. But
yeah,
just while we're here, you have this chat with Sycamore, and he's basically like waxing on about how the world could maybe someday reach a level where there aren't enough resources, but he thinks that people and Pokemon will figure out a way forward. So, you know, Lysandre, maybe he had a crazy scheme, and I could have brought this up with Lysandre.
He's a Lysandre apologist.
But I didn't, and maybe I'm partially responsible for everything that happened. But, anyway, hey, you want to have a battle?
Yeah, let's battle.
He doesn't
and he's got all the
wrestle
Kanto
with his
starters.
demons at all. Yeah, he's just got all the Kanto starters.
But I whooped his bottom. That's not where we're at right now, though, Joshua. We leave. What was the name of this?
Anastar City.
We leave Anastar Gym.
Yes.
And our unit blows up. What do you call it? Holocaster.
Mm-hmm.
Blows up, and it's Lysandre. And he has dispatched a communique to all of the Kalos region to say, "Hello, my name is Lysandre. I'm the king of Team Flare."
Mm-hmm.
Surprise, surprise.
I'm also Sycamore's boyfriend.
I'm also Sycamore's boyfriend. but we keep that on the down low. So that's just between
sorry,
us.
I thought I was on mute. And then he continues on.
I am going to dig up the ultimate weapon, which is a weapon that is buried underneath the Kalos region, and I'm going to use it to kill everyone and every Pokemon that's not in Team Flare. So, like, fucking say your goodbyes.
Yeah, and it's got a dial for that. So is Lysandre, from what I understand, I'm no expert, I've seen about 2 of them, is he Thanos? Doesn't he just snap his finger with that glove and then he kills half of everybody?
He's like Old Testament God, you know? He's like, this creation is flawed, and I'm gonna like send a great purging flood to destroy everyone but the chosen few, and the chosen few right now are Team Flare.
Yeah, he basically reveals that, like, well, there's not enough energy and happiness to go around, so the only way to even things back out is just to simply reduce the number of people with Pokemon, aka kill
everyone but us.
99% of them.
Your buds all gather up and they said, I wonder where Lysandre hangs out. I wonder if there's any kind of place where we could find Lysandre. And someone says, what about Lysandre Cafe?
Yeah.
In Lumio City. So we hop on our swoobats and
or your haluchas,
make our way over to Lumios, and sure enough, if you wouldn't ding dang know it, you go into Lysandre Cafe, these 2 charming servers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just Team Flare grunts.
I know.
And they've been Team Flare grunts the whole time, and it actually turns out that Lysandre Cafe is Lysandre Labs.
I can't believe this.
Oh, and it is a fucking
almost had all the stamps on my coffee card for a free cup too, and now I can't go back.
It's a hoot, Joshua. It's classic Pokemon Bad Guy Lair.
It is classic. It has the classic, like, I haven't been this compelled by the evil lair music since Team Rocket.
Ooh, the music.
The music was great in Lysandre Labs.
We're spinning out of control on conveyor belts, and we're zapping through teleporters, and we're fighting trainers.
Lysandre gets 5 mil per member, so he doesn't skimp on any detail in this lair.
Classic Pokemon. And then you got to find your way out to these alcoves off each of the corners of the room, and there's one of these like sort of cool Team Flare members with the future
cool
visors,
glasses, the cyberpunk glasses. Yeah, they don't give you the fucking chump change in here. You get proper named executives, not anonymous admin Pitbull and Kesha.
But they're all wearing cool glasses too.
Yeah, Brioni and Celosia.
So much backstory in this leg of the journey.
Oh my god,
Josh, and Lysandre Labs is just the beginning.
Yeah. This isn't even our only secret evil lair this episode.
And there's multiple like cutscenes. Like the game you stop playing the game and you start watching a short movie, which is pretty rare in Pokemon games. But there's several of them this week.
Full on like illustrated, beautiful illustrations actually that are reminiscent of like the start menu.
But again, it does tell the story, as we talked about earlier. It does tell the story of a man nuking the planet because his pet or his girlfriend, who's a Pokemon flower, died.
Yeah.
And also the man is 3,000 years old. And also the man is 9 feet tall.
I mean, we knew that Floette Florges line was troublesome. This is somebody even before for Affinity.
Getting me in trouble with the missus. She's looking at my phone search history and she's like, what is this? Nothing.
What are
Go
all
back
these
to bed.
Provocative flower photos on?
Go back to bed. Do you want to get into the backstory? Should we describe it to the bug catchers? What did you glean from Brioni and Celosia?
Mostly, you summarized it. I actually can't think of a better summary than what you've already said, but the longer form version of it that I tried to transcribe as much as possible because I'm trying to make a conscious effort of like really being able to understand as much as possible of the lore in these Pokemon games because we've struggled with that before.
Well, because you're the lore master.
And I'm the lore master. So there is a room in the back of the Lysandre labs that you have to like kind of trickily navigate to. And in that room, it's just like bookshelf after bookshelf. And then there's also a pile of papers on a desk. And if you read all of these bookshelves and the papers, what you discover is that the king from 3,000 years ago, his name was AZ, and unclear whether or not that was always his name by coincidence, but it says that he was both the beginning and the end. Which sort of
the alpha and the omega.
It's like when you name your kid Jeeves and then he has to become a butler. Like, I named the prince AZ. Hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the ass.
Kid Tanner, and he has to just grow up to be like super rad.
Wouldn't you be like that's probably a name where like you would have been like a fur trader and you're like tanning the leather. You know, people used to be named after their professions.
Yeah, that's why my mom named me Tanner.
Yeah,
you know,
she was hoping you'd grow up to be a fur trader.
She just thought that was really lucrative.
Like that Hudson's Bay company, that's your future.
Yeah.
So
hope I don't catch madness from all the mercury.
Yeah. So you find out, all right, so King AZ, he had brought about a prosperous rule to the kingdom, and his brother was jealous of that.
Yeah.
And his brother mounts an uprising with...
Who, I will just say now, before we forget to mention it, Lysandre is descended from his brother, from the evil brother.
Yeah, from the jealous brother, right? Or is it the king?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It's the brother.
Yeah.
The usurper.
Yeah.
So the usurper gathers the greediest in Kalos and try to take the kingdom. And so this big battle, this big war ensues, and AZ's beloved Floette gets killed in this battle because he had to use his beloved Pokemon team.
War is hell.
Yeah, I mean, when you're backed into a corner, you start throwing them on into it. That's like what Lieutenant Surge back in, that's where he got his PTSD.
Yeah, he still
from his war too.
About that.
But so after the Pokemon died, he decides to use this ultimate weapon that I guess he'd been working on.
Yeah. That
is somehow both, it gives and takes away life, which is sort of what we learn about our legendary Pokemon. That the Y Yveltal is the one that is like takes away life, and then yours, I presume, Xerneas or whatever, gives life, I presume. But anyway, they're
not so far. Not to me, but...
No. Well, in any case, they're integral to, like, activating the weapon. And in order to get the weapon to work, you have to sacrifice Pokemon, and then that powers it up, and then somehow it, like, resurrects them. So he gets his Floette, his beloved Floette back, and then the rest of his team. But the Pokemon figure out that they were reincarnated from sacrificing Pokemon, and then they're like, I can't have this blood on my hands.
Yeah.
And they run away.
Yep.
And so... Then AZ like disappears because he's so upset. The brother finds out about all this. He has a weapon buried underground, and only his progeny knew of the location. So that's the missing piece. So Lysandre is his descendant, and he's the only one who knows about the key.
Which
I think that's
on him.
Yeah, AZ's got the key.
So we make our way
all
through
of this to like bring it back.
Lysandre Labs, and we learn all of this.
Yeah,
mostly in a cutscene with AZ, who just describes it to you because he is in a like holding cell at the back of Lysandre Labs, and Lysandre has taken the activation key to the ultimate weapon. So, psych! You thought you were gonna beat Team Flare. You thought you had found Team Flare HQ, and you were about to beat them. Nope, you have to go and actually go beat them now.
Jesus. Yeah. So on this basement, that's where we finally meet the caged 9-foot-tall man.
Yeah.
Who dresses all emo, which I guess I would if I'd been wandering the earth for 3,000 years looking for my Fur Affinity login, at least if I can't find Floette.
Okay. I guess, Josh, if you want. We don't have a lot of time, but...
Oh. I mean, we saw Florges later on this leg, like out in the wild.
For affinity check.
And I was like, this thing is just like begging for it.
Gross, Josh. Who do you want? Do you want Florges or do you want...
I think it's got to be
Floette.
Florges. I mean, it's like a can dancer as a flower.
Yes, it's got a butt that just won't quit in all of this fan art. Everyone's like, love the thighs, love the butt.
Oh,
that's what I'm going to focus on. There's
person
is
focused
focused on the feet.
Kind of making it look like Ariel from a Little Mermaid vibe.
Yep. If you give a Pokemon fat butt like they've done with Florges, of course the community's going to run with that.
Well, yeah, they get very into also seeing what Florges might look like. Pregnant, inflated, classic. I mean,
yeah.
But there's a lot of just like sort of tasteful,
Lopunny has snuck
sultry
into
looking
my Florges results here.
Oh, I imagine there's a number of Lopunnies and Florgesses
And a couple
getting
of
into some business together.
Breaksons.
Oh, I could see that.
They're doing kissing. Joshua, we journey down further into the lab here to try to tail Lysandre, who's made off with the key to the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And we end up in the basement where we're introduced to my... You Make Me Barf Trainer of the Week. And it's Team Flare Zerosic.
Yeah.
Who's just this absolute pervert. Just a disgusting man. He looks like a Hellraiser. I don't see any way
around it. Yeah.
He looks like Butterball from Hellraiser.
You can tell that he's like so sweaty.
Nothing to like about this guy. He's a supervillain, first of all. Like no bones about it, you know.
Yeah, he has big like Baron from the David Lynch version of Dune energy.
Yeah.
Like big puffed up suit, sweaty, probably has boils all over him, like disgusting. Mad scientist who just lives.
He's wearing one glove in his official art, and the other one's tucked
underground.
into his pocket. Yeah, he's the main scientist for Team Flare. He has activated the ultimate weapon, he says, and then you have to battle him.
Yeah,
obviously.
He has you choose. You have to battle him.
And when you battle him, he has a Crobat and a Malamar. Nothing to write home about.
No.
But then, yes, there's two buttons behind him, a blue button and a red button, and he Morpheuses you.
Yeah.
He does a Morpheus on you and says, you have a chance to stop the ultimate weapon, but you have to hit the right button. But it turns out it's a psych out.
I actually did choose the right. I chose the right one apparently. Blue.
Oh,
blue pilling is when the weapon doesn't go off. But who would have thought? Zerosic is like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and set it off anyway. That was a lie.
And he does, and we get our third cutscene of the leg, which is this big crystal flower erupting from the ground in Geosenge town.
Mm-hmm.
So we obviously know what our next destination is, Joshua.
Geosenge town.
Off to Geosenge town. All the little houses have just been very neatly
knocked over. Yeah, this planet-ending weapon ends up just sprouting out of the ground, and it just like politely knocks over these little cabins, and then and the landscape other than that is completely unchanged.
Yeah. But this is where the real juicy chunk of the journey is, Joshua, because this is where the real Team Flare secret headquarters is. You walk in, and Lysandre's like, fight me. And you're like, okay. And you kick his ass.
Yeah, you fight him several times in this fucking leg.
He like opens the door for you because like in the main control room, you see this sort of like viewport down into this big chamber. And in the middle of the chamber is a tree where it's like the power source for the ultimate weapon.
Right.
And then he opens the door for you for some reason. He's like, go ahead, go down and take a look at the tree, idiot. And you're like, okay, I will. You make your way down. You do a bunch of double battles on the way with Serena, who's like tailing you, or Calum.
Yeah, we reunite with our rival.
And then we make our way into the chamber, and we engage with this tree, and it turns into a Pokemon.
Yeah, this chamber
Xerneas.
And I have Yveltal.
Yveltal.
This chamber's got big, I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. It's got big, like, cauldron vibes of just, like, it was cool in there. It's just all, like, wires and, like, it's dark and it's ominous. I like the design in here. Did you catch?
Xerneas took a fucking run at me. Popped out of the machine and just came charging at me, and of course I had to battle him.
Yeah, this was like right when I was playing this on Monday. It was right when I was about to eat dinner, and I was like, wait, I didn't even save, and now I just have to like do it. And I actually had the best luck with Yveltal. I didn't even like I didn't stock up extra on like Ultra Balls. I forgot this was happening. And I got it down to like red, and then I just popped an Ultra Ball, and it did the thing where it just like it flashes for a second, and then it just clicked on the first one, and I got it.
Yeah, I didn't even bother. I just threw a Master Ball right at the dang thing.
Oh, I'm saving that for another.
I'm gonna just catch Mewtwo the old-fashioned way.
Okay, yeah. No, I always like to catch my Mewtwo's in Master Balls.
In a Master Ball, yeah.
It's complementary colors,
Yeah, that's true. I caught Xerneas. I'm not terribly impressed. I don't think Xerneas or Yveltal are particularly nice-looking Pokemon.
I am more intrigued by Yveltal's design, but I agree. Neither is really doing anything for me.
Yeah.
Xerneas is at least pure fairy, which is is more interesting.
And then we can't even can't even introduce ourselves to our new teammate before. Oh, by the way, I named mine Jedrax after
somebody
at Mystic Jedrax on Twitter. Thank you, Jared, for letting me name my Pokemon after you, my legendary Pokemon.
You got a good one.
Before you can even introduce yourself to your fucking new Pokemon, Lysandre shows back up, and he's like he's just dressed like a clown.
Kitted out inexplicably like
he's
Doc
just got all
Ock.
this new gear. Yeah.
He's got
a big glove on. Also, has made himself a Mega Ring.
Yeah, that's somehow what this was. So
yeah. But also, he's got Doc Ock arms and little robots.
With the little the shitty little hand fan with the tiny propeller that you it's battery powered, and they're flying around him for some reason.
I don't know
Somehow
why.
this is a Mega Ring equivalent. And
did I accidentally chop him in half last time we battled, and he needs this device to keep him alive? What is this? And he also has he's sporting the Team Flare weird visor.
That's
honestly, he looks kind of cool, but
yeah.
I don't get why he's all of a sudden. I just saw him 10 minutes ago. We were just upstairs fighting.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of my critiques.
What did you after right as I left the room? He ran into his bedroom. He's like, I'm gonna get all my gear on and go fight him again.
Would this guy who is the Elon Musk of this planet, and he's got we learned that the Holocaster that Lysandre Labs controls, he invented it, and everybody has one basically, and it collects data on every single person. One of the Brioni or whatever, one of the lower level executives just reveals casually oh yeah, I know your name, I know all your Pokemon because we just listen to everything that you do on the Holocaster. And it's what if you're this evil, you have all this data, how would you not, first of all, Lysandre be using Mega Evolution all the time? Why wouldn't you have distributed the technology even if people have to
all
look
of your Team
wacky?
Flare dudes?
Why wouldn't all of your minions have Mega Evolution? And then, in general, why don't any of our starters have fucking Mega Evolutions?
I don't know.
Larger Mega Evolution rant. It's just how would this region, where it is seemingly endemic, Mega Evolution, there's a Tower of Mastery dedicated to it, there's a guru, it doesn't exist in any other regions of Pokemon. Why are the only Pokemon that it affects non-Gen 6, non-Kalos Pokemon?
I can't believe that there's not a single Kalos Pokemon that gets a Mega Evolution.
No, I looked into that after I was wait a second, we don't get any fucking... He's got a Gyarados, so it does Mega Evolution, which
his
is
Mega Evolution
cool.
is Gyarados. I think
cool.
Gyarados looks terrible.
I think it's kind of
He's
cool.
got every now and then when they do an evolution of a Pokemon, they'll just add balls to the side of it.
Yeah.
And they've done that with Mega Gyarados.
I just think you can't really get the design wrong. It's lazy, but Gyarados...
It looks it went back to being a big fish.
Yeah, it is kind of
it goes from fish to dragon to fish.
More of an eel or something. But yeah. Anyway, it's a huge letdown. I think
I can't
Mega
believe
Evolution.
that none of our starters evolve.
It doesn't make
Mega
any
evolve.
sense from the standpoint of both business sense of don't you want to pump people up about the new Pokemon from this new region?
I know why they
and
didn't
then
do
also
it. I know
from
why
the
they didn't
lore.
do it.
If Mega Evolution is from Kalos, of course the endemic native Pokemon should do it.
When you said,
why would a Venusaur have it?
When you said from a business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense, but I actually think that you've perfectly explained it, which is...
revamping the old shit.
Well, think about it. If Greninja gets a Mega Evolution in this game and then they don't bring Mega Evolutions back, everyone's going to be pissed that, they've lost an evolution of their Greninja, right?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Don't you think? This new... Introducing a Pokemon with, this new evolution and then taking it away feels kind of backwards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I see that. I see the also the perspective I'm realizing of like, well, you throw in a couple more evolutions, even if they're temporary, for Charizard and like a Gyarados and the starters in general and fucking Mewtwo, and like bring the old people back with like some new content
some
of their
them look pretty
favorites or
fucking
whatever.
cool,
I guess
though,
I
man.
can see that. Yeah.
Some of them look cool as hell.
I'm settling back down, although I do have a couple more comments in here.
He has come to reclaim Xerneas / Yveltal from us.
Yes.
He thinks he's the guy who should have those Pokemon and not us. So we have to battle him again. And
Yeah, like
once
the fourth
again,
time.
I absolutely just trounced him.
Yeah.
Although, I gotta say, Mega Evolution Gyarados gave me a run for my money. Those things
It did
hit
some
pretty
damage.
fucking hard.
That's the only thing that can do some damage.
I'm glad he didn't have a better Pokemon or more Pokemon that could do that. But yeah, and then we're done. We've vanquished Team Flare.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have a couple of comments. I guess I already kind of touched on it here with Yveltal, but just because I'm loving it, I'm trying to like hammer it through. Poke checks yourself. Because the Pokedex entry, and I want to know what Xerneas's is now. Because the one for Yveltal is that when this legendary Pokemon's wings and tail feathers spread wide and glow red, it absorbs the life force of living creatures. Which is like, okay, it's life steal.
Jesus.
That's X. Y, though, when its life comes to an end, it absorbs the life energy of every living thing and turns into a cocoon once more. So what's just happened to me is that I've captured this thing, and if I let it die or it dies of like its natural lifespan, we all perish.
Yeah.
This is the burden placed upon me now.
This is the burden placed upon you. Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, why does it have to be everything dies? Is that a reset?
Yeah, it's
How
completely
long does this
resets.
thing live? I feel like they said it only lives like 1,000 years at some point.
Yeah, and it's like 900.
So we had to rebuild from scratch every 1,000 years.
Here's Xerneas's Pokedex entry in X.
Okay.
Legends say it can share eternal life. It slept for 1,000 years in the form of a tree before its revival.
Okay, that's kind of nice.
Here's what it says in Y. When the horns on its head shine in 7 different colors, it is said to be sharing everlasting life.
Okay, so interesting. So I guess we do know that's confirmed. Immortality is possible in Pokemon.
Yeah, well, we already knew that because of the presence of Az in this game.
Yeah.
Crazy, as you like to call him.
Yeah, because the A to Z, beginning and the end. And
Joshua!
they're both in caps. Yes.
We leave and Sycamore calls us and says, hey, sorry, that was my friend. Thank you for stopping him. Swing by. And then we do, and he fights us.
Yeah,
like,
we
psych,
kind of
time to
that.
fight. You go across this big, beautiful bridge on Route 19, and literally all of your friends like gang up on you.
Yeah.
They like cut you off from either end, and then like all insist on battling you one after the other. They do heal you between them, but
I mean, I didn't need it.
it's quite a sequence.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember anything except like I'm upset with Tierno because he set out back in Vanderville town or whatever the town was right after that when we meet up with them.
Yep.
And he announces that his grand ambition is that he wants to have like the greatest dancing troupe.
All dancing Pokemon.
All dancing Pokemon. And so we're
possible. It's possible.
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
We're almost at the 8th gym. He has 3 Pokemon.
Yep.
Talonflame, Roserade, and Crawdon.
Yep.
2 of them have Swords Dance.
Yep.
And then Roserade has Petal Dance. Yep. Where the fuck is Feather Dance? Where's Dragon Dance? Like, where's Teeter Dance? There are so many, given there's more time left,
dance moves.
But there's at least 3 off the top of my head that you could get in this game. And how he just gives up, and he's so lazy that 2 of them have Swords Dance.
It's also just like, this is, I think, the second time we've fought him. It's like, it's not like, it should have been easy. It should have been better than this. I feel like they just didn't try very hard.
Yeah, the big build up to like, you're going to fight all your friends. And then
like, I get it. The last
wretched.
time we fought him, sure, I get it. You have access to Pokemon who can know Sword Dance and Feather Dance. But now it's like, it's Gym 8. Like our Pokemon are in the 70s, you know, like
Yeah.
go put some fucking work in, man. Is this a theme team or what?
Like ditch the theme at this point because it's embarrassing to even say that you have a theme.
There's one other thing we should probably get into while we're here, Joshua.
Okay. I have something.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you have something?
It's my You Make Me Barf Pokemon of the week.
Okay, well, I have a sweetie.
Yeah. Do you want to say who your sweetie is on the count of 3, and I'll say who my You Make Me Barf Pokemon is on the count of 3?
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Goodra.
Now, I will admit, I was judging only off the sprite in the game, but Goodra's got a little smirk, and it's a little dragon, and we know that I like just straight up dragons. When I look at the illustration on the Bulbapedia page...
I need you to go look at the illustration on the Bulbapedia page. The name should have tipped you off. The name should have tipped you off. Goodra.
But look at it.
And it came from
It's
Sliggoo.
kind of elegant, though. It's sort of elegant.
Yeah, until you get a real close peek at its gloopy little face, Joshua. It's the new Gloom.
It's just... I don't think it's... But Gloom...
Goodra is the new Gloom.
Is ugly,
it's got
though, in general.
Disgusting mucus hanging off its chin. It's got disgusting mucus all over its hands as though it's been wiping boogers off its face. Absolutely disgusting.
The slime
Joshua.
could be good.
Absolutely
be
disgusting.
Nice
I can't believe you made this your
let's look at the Pokédex. Let's Pokéchecks here. This very friendly dragon type Pokemon will hug its beloved trainer.
Oh, with its gooey
leaving
hands?
that trainer covered in sticky slime.
See, Joshua, you pervert.
Well, look at this is wild too. Y's entry is it attacks with retractable horns. It throws a punch that's the equivalent of the force of 100 pro boxers. Who's measuring this?
It's a fucking dragon.
Okay. Sticky slime is not.
Yuck. Ugh. So gross.
In Sun, an amazingly friendly Pokemon, but if left to itself, loneliness overcomes it and it oozes gooey tears.
Oh, Joshua, it's so gross. I can't believe you like it. You're such a pervert.
It's got a sweet look though, but the goop. Shit. I might have to retract this, but then I got nothing.
Yucky. After we're done trouncing all of our friends,
we'll have the bug catcher slime off in the comments. Sound off in the comments.
Let's do them slime off.
Let's do a poll about whether or not Goodra is sweetie or barf.
There's sort of this sequence now where we get to Snowbelle City, our final destination. But of course, the trainer isn't in the gym. He's wandered off into the Pokemon Village. You have to go find him. Yeah. Great. It's like an hour until I'm recording Pokemon game. Can I just fucking take on Wulfric? No. I have to go through the fucking Kokiri Forest, the Lost Woods.
Yeah, it's like big time Lost Woods vibes.
Trying to find my way around
set
this
with the
fucking
little
maze.
Light coming through the canopy
really nice.
In the battles and like the little forest background.
Why is there still creepy girls in here? Why is every route on this game? Why is this game so creepy?
Yeah, there's so many of the little like mysterious sister,
doll girls,
like the Hex Maniacs, and then the fairy child.
Every
or whatever.
route.
Like, where are their parents? Well, I mean, I guess
they're ghosts.
You don't think they're alive?
I don't think they're alive. I think they're ghosts. You find Wulfric in something called Pokemon Village, which is just like a little catching area, but I didn't spend much time
home
there.
To runaway Pokemon who are like mistreated by their trainers. And there's a nice little like Snow White segment where Wulfric is like, oh, this guy's fine. This girl's
Everyone
fine.
flees.
And then like the little Fletchling and the Furfroos and, whatever, they all come out of the woods.
They come frolicking back. And then, of course, you have to make your way back out. Because, you're like, oh, great, I found Wulfric. He went back to his gym. Time to escape rope out of here. And then it's like, nope, there's a time and a place for escape ropes, and this isn't it. It's like, fuck you.
Like, really rubbing it in. And the really annoying part is that you can go, and there's, like, a surfing area, and then we got Waterfall.
Yeah.
And there's a waterfall at the end of it, and, something good's up there, and I'm seeing now it's the TM for Psychic. So, I want that.
Oh, I gotta get up there.
We can't use Waterfall yet because we had to beat the gym, but the Unknown Dungeon is here also. So, we're coming back, at least.
And then we just head to Snowbelle Gym, but first, Joshua, I think we have to
Level check.
Do level check.
Level check.
And I think we're gonna have to see what Steve thinks of our team. He's a pro Pokemon player.
I know. I can't wait, and I'm scared to see what he thinks about my mess of Pokemon.
All right, let's head over. All right, Joshua, it's level check. You were going to tell me about your team because I'm interested, because we are rivals in this journey through Kalos together.
That's right.
But you're also going to be telling our guest, Steve SARUMI from It's Super Effective, all about your team so that he, in his vast stores of Pokemon wisdom, can tell you if you're building a good team or not.
And
a competitive team.
As candid as you can get. Yeah. But I'll take you can give me style points too, even if it's not a competitive team, you know. You like, oh, it's interesting. It's got like a flair, you know. Maybe I can aim for that at least. So my character this season is Joan of Arceus. She is bandying about Kalos, assembling chivalrous knights who are righting the wrongs of the Nouveau Riche here in Kalos. So she's got John II, who is Delphox, level 72. Saint Catherine, Aurorus, level 71, that I think is probably warrant discussion. Renault, Venusaur, level 70. Saint Michael, I always do that. Dragalge, level 71. Lahir, Heliolisk, level 71. And then the Bishop, Hawlucha, level 71. That's what I got.
You got a pretty good team. Dang.
Is it? Are you humoring me? I have no idea. I was like trying to keep it kind of like interesting, and also, like I said, haven't used any of them other than Venusaur before.
I don't remember. I think Diantha is like her final Pokemon's like 76 or something like that. So
oh yeah. We tend to sort of accidentally get pretty far ahead of all of the gym leaders,
especially with that experience share working on everything. Now we're just like we're flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, Wulfric ends at like level 60-ish, if I remember correctly.
Wulfric was a pretty easy journey for us this week.
Yeah, Delphox
about to get into.
Roasted everything.
Is there anyone I should sort of be on the watch out for? Any real threats on that team?
What was there was a lack of fairy, right?
Yeah, I do think if and when I replace Amon, although I guess I shouldn't let Tanner know this, but just Tanner, don't listen. Yeah, I probably should bring a fairy in here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like from Gen 6 all the way still into Gen 7, fairy is incredibly busted.
Right? It seems like it's so busted.
Like they have like Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, and there's like really no downfalls to like using those moves. They just hit super hard. They're super accurate.
Yeah, my Sylveon is sort of running roughshod over all of Kalos.
I don't know if you guys know this, but like Hawlucha is one of the not in Gen 6, but in Gen 7, Hawlucha is used for speed runs because you get a Hawlucha pretty early on in Sun and Moon, and then people go through the entire game with Hawlucha because of its moveset.
Oh, really?
Yeah, interesting.
Right. Give me ideas for next gen. For
next season. I'm liking it. I got this one. I presume they're also gunning for the ones that have Unburden as the ability because they're so fast. In battle as well. Yeah,
I'm not sure what the moveset is, but I can't remember if it was Gen 6 or Gen 7 where they changed how like Dire Hit and X Attack and like X Speed work.
I think they're still
+1.
Like the classic, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think in Gen 7 it was a +2. So you just like double your attack stat with one X Attack and then just run through the game.
Oh, yeah,
it's
okay.
insane.
So it sounds like you're one generation off, Josh. Sorry.
Damn, so close.
All right, Steve, here's my character's name is Lovemaker69. He's pretty much just
self-explanatory.
A mirror. You know, I'm holding up a mirror to society. Kickjard, Lucario, level 67. My levels are a little low this week because I didn't have a lot of time to play. So ignore the levels.
Oh, yeah.
Lucario.
Even though you've harassed me for when I'm training new Pokemon that my Pokemon
Uncle
are
Duck the
underleveled.
second. Sylveon, level 68. Casey Malamar, level 52, named after at Casey Not Jones on Twitter. Thank you, at Casey Not Jones. Dylan Garchomp, level 61. Alexa Carroll, Ampharos, level 66, named for at Nightly Comet on Twitter. Thank you, Alexa. And Nicholas Dunn, Haunter, level 53, named for @Nick50057. Thank you, Nick, for letting me name my Pokemon after you.
Respete.
What do you think of that team? How's my lineup? Oh, just one other thing. Lucario, Garchomp, Ampharos, and Haunter all have Mega Evolution Stones.
I was gonna say your team is like all megas.
That's the plan.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna be evolving that Haunter later tonight for Tanner.
Yeah, I was gonna the Haunter, not Gengar yet.
Yeah, I was waiting on my co-host.
Yeah, they did the thing where like really good Pokemon got megas that didn't like. I love Mega Ampharos. I think it's fantastic. The like hair that comes out of it changing to an electric dragon.
So glorious.
Incredible. And then you have Pokemon like Metagross and Garchomp, which were already dominant. And they're like, let's just make them more dominant. Here's
Yeah.
They honestly, on both of those two, they didn't even try very hard on their Mega Evolution sprites. Just like make them pose differently. You know?
Make them hit harder, make them faster. There's like literally no downsides to Mega-ing.
I want to ask you, as an expert, about Malamar, someone who I'm very intrigued by. Psychic Dark, and just a wild little Pokemon. I had to hold my Game Boy upside down to make it evolve.
So crazy.
You still have to do that in the newer games.
I'm glad that they kept that. That's commitment to the bit.
Is Malamar a worthwhile Pokemon for a team?
Yeah, Malamar is really good against
in Sword and Shield, right? Didn't it make it? Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of Malamar can be like really scary because there's a lot of the Dynamax moves will like do a stat change, whether that's like lower attack, lower special attack, lower defense, lower special defense, and even if you don't hit Malamar, Contrary will take effect, and then it will get the Contrary boost from that. And no one ever remembers Malamar's typing. They're like, I don't know, it's like a squid, so it's water, but it's not water, and. So yeah, Malamar does see competitive play, like not at a super high level, but like when it shows up, you're just like, what does this thing do again? Like, okay.
Not at a super high level yet, but once I join the ranks, we'll skyrocket this thing to stardom.
That's gonna be tough for me to deal with that one, actually.
Was it the like turning it upside down that intrigued you, or did you just like catch Inkay and you were like, this is cool?
I caught Inkay and I thought it was cute, and I was like, yeah, you know what, we'll see what we can do with this. And then it had a move called Topsy Turvy, which I thought was pretty wild, where you can like do like switch stat changes with your opponent. And it knew a couple other just sort of bizarre moves. And then I read about the evolution. It was like, yeah, let's try this thing out. I'm pretty happy with it so far.
Yeah, it's a cool Pokemon.
All right, Joshua, I'm looking forward to one day introducing your team to Casey the Malamar and seeing what you can do with it.
It'll be next week, presuming you keep it.
Steve, we're going to go talk about our fight with Wulfric now, but thank you so much again for joining us today. Will you tell the bug catchers where they can find you?
Sure. You can find my podcast wherever you find other podcasts. It's called It's Super Effective. It's a weekly Pokemon news podcast that comes out every Monday. And I stream full-time on Twitch, where I stream a lot of Nuzlocke or shiny hunting or competitive battles or opening TCG cards, pretty much all that stuff. That's twitch.tv/PKMNCAST.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on and answering our questions about Pokemon and spending some time with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Wulfric gave me a little trouble. Wulfric and his trainers gave me a little trouble. Lucario only knows one fighting move, and it only has 5 PP.
Oh, you didn't even PP up that?
So I haven't yet. No, I think I have a few.
What
PP
is
ups.
it? Aura
Close
sphere?
combat.
Close combat, yeah.
So I had to keep going back and
oh my god, and
healing
then
at the Pokemon Center just to get more PP for close combat.
Does the puzzle? So Bugcatchers, the gym setup is that like it's rotating. It kind of has a layout like of all things Cryogonal. And you need to like move the platforms around, and they're like big squares in order to line up the other platforms. And you do it with like stepping onto a little circle and then That allows you
Yeah.
to keep moving forward, and you have to fight a trainer on each one. Did you have to did it reset every time you left, and then you'd have to do it again?
Sort of, because like
my
it's a
God.
little, it's like tricksy in that you have to like, it's not a straight shot. You don't like just line up the platforms and walk up to Wulfric. You have to do this kind of maze-like route through all the different like trainers and activation buttons and all that kind of stuff. So you have to like go back and do all that again. But you make your way through, and here's Wulfric. Cool look. He's daddy. He's this game's daddy.
Oh yeah, he uses like a North Face like puffy jacket as his
Yeah, he's just
like
got it,
tied
like,
around
tied
his
around
neck
his
like
shoulders.
a cape. Kind of a cape,
Yeah.
technically. Interesting.
Every game has a daddy, and Wulfric is this game's daddy.
Oh, he's definitely the daddy.
And he's got,
Abomasnow.
I don't know, what do you want me to say? Terrible ice type Pokemon.
Yeah,
who I
mean,
kill each one of them in one hit with
he
Mega Lucario.
in his
what do you
little,
want me to say?
In his
They're
little
trash.
preamble, he does at least kind
They're
of
absolute
say,
trash.
Like, ice is either the hardest thing you ever fought or a total pushover. And then it's
Yeah.
like Delphox, fucking flamethrower. The whole gym collapsed by the
He has-
time it left because it was so hot in there.
He has Cryonical. Blech. No more need be said there.
No.
Abomasnow, who's fine. And
Avalugg. I love the look of Avalugg in
I
the
kinda like
battle.
Avalugg,
It's
too.
cool. That's sentient iceberg. I like that design.
Yeah, I'm into it too. What does it evolve from? Probably something pretty dang cute, huh?
Bergmite, yeah. Didn't you ever see a Bergmite?
Oh yeah, I did see a Bergmite. They are kind of cute.
I don't know why I think something else overrode it, but Bergmite's definitely a sweetie. I didn't give it the official, theme song, but that's a sweetie.
Just destroyed him, Joshua. And I'm looking forward to issuing a writ and seeing him in Battle Chateau again so I can do it all over again.
That will be fun, yes.
Anything else?
I think that's what we got.
I want to thank Steve SARUMI for coming on once again.
Thank you, Steve.
Everyone go check out. I'm sure you're all Pokemon podcast
You all
fans.
know
I'm
what it's super effective.
certain
is.
that you've heard
That's-
it's super effective.
Speaking
before,
of
but-
Wulfric, it's super effective. That's the daddy of the Pokemon podcast.
yeah, that's Daddy of the Pokemon podcast. Yeah, and what are we? Baby,
Baby.
gotta love me.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
That's it, Joshua. That's the leg this week.
Long one.
A slog,
Yeah.
but pretty fun.
Yeah,
Pretty fun.
I didn't hate any of it. It was just super long, and as we talked about with Steve, it's very imbalanced.
Sometimes it's about the
pacing.
journey and not the destination, Joshua. Haven't you ever read The Hobbit?
Of course I have.
Please do rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, and do follow the show everywhere that you follow podcasts, and do follow us at EXPSharePod on Twitter and Instagram.
And check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/bugcatchers, which is where you can participate in weekly level checks with the rest of the bugcatchers. And we're coming up on the end of the season, so somebody is probably getting close to being the trainer of the season and getting to take us on. So you can at least observe or maybe try to be an underdog. And
Good fucking luck. I'm going to be running 6 Mega Evolution Pokemon by the time we get there, so...
TBD if Pokemon Showdown allows all of them to be able to Mega Evolve. Unlike in the games, you can just do one per battle, and I'm terrified to find that out, and that will definitely be Mayor Cheat if you are able to. And you can get a Mayor Cheat shirt among many others over at expsharemerch.com, which is where we have our merch store, or expsharepod.com.
Yep.
Great new website.
Looks beautiful.
Nailed it.
Next week, we will be headed to the Elite Four, and we will have our iconic Elite Four guest on.
That's right.
Joins us every season for the Elite
Except
Four.
last season, because we
Except
we
last
didn't
season,
want
but
to have
that
to
was his
explain
fault.
King's Lock again, and it was Tony's fault.
It's Tony.
He had
Tony
some
Smith is kinda-
some scheduling conflict. He's always making a new game or hanging out with somebody.
Yeah, right.
We're old hat. No, but he's back.
Try
He's back.
getting
excited.
in the chop with us every now and then, Tony. Playing some dang Pokemon. and
Let's chop
recording
him up
podcasts
this time
about
and
it.
keep our damn IP next week when we battle him.
Yeah, so we'll see Tony next week, and we will take on the Elite Four. Joshua, my name has been Tanzernios, and I am joined, as always, by you, Fieveltal. And thank you again to Steve Fisk for coming on. Everyone check out It's Super Effective everywhere that you
Please
catch
do.
podcasts.
Please.
Joshua, bug catchers, goodbye.
Smell you later.